Let me bring into the conversation now our senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo, who is here in studio with me. And Ziyanda, I've got to ask you the question. In this march, to begin with, it was said to be masking the factional battles of the African National Congress. Does this somehow put paid to that suggestion?
Most certainly, Koli, and I think that what's happening today is an indication of that, and Mbalula's tweets are even more of an indication of that. I mean, the Twitter streets are abuzz right now, Koli. I mean, he goes on to say Carl Niehaus faked, his own mother's death and faked the death of his own mother today. He's showing up with chicken audacity, threatening everyone, including the state. Then Mbalula goes on to say, I'm not afraid of them. Jacob Zuma, Carl Niehaus, Kebi Mapatswe, Busisiwe Mkhwebane, and Ace Magashule. That you must, and then thumbs down. And then Mbalula goes on, Koli, and your biggest friends, the Guptas. And then he says your efforts, and I think this is the slam dunk, I think your efforts to bring the ANC down failed. We are 57% in power. You'll remember, Koli, that there were rumors that there were some within the ANC who were working towards bringing the numbers of during the last year's elections, the ANC's numbers down.
Yeah.
And so what Mbalula is saying is really, really, damning in terms of those rumors that were circulating at the time.
I mean, Fikile Mbalula is holding nothing back. And
yeah.
I think what baffles me is the mention of some names
yes.
that I would have thought as they would say, a disciplined member of the movement. I am not going to, air the dirty laundry of the organization, but there's a mention of the former president, Jacob
yes.
Zuma. There's a mention of Ace Magashule.
Busisiwe Mkhwebane, which confirms the rumors, or maybe he's trying to confirm rumors that she is a party agent and she's
yeah.
being used through her position in the Chapter 9 institution for narrow political ends for a single faction within the party. And I think that's why, these tweets are gaining so much traction, Koli. Like you're saying, it's no holds barred, and no one is quite sure, what provoked such tweets from the transport minister. But he really is mentioning names, and this is, of course, on the back of that march that we saw last week and today, and last week when they marched upon the State Capture Commission's premises, it was quite clear that, one, they have an axe to grind with President Cyril Ramaphosa and the law enforcement agencies, but also these supporters are supporting former President Jacob Zuma and Ace Magashule.
So what should ordinary South Africans then, Ziyanda? Because I think the factional battles in the ANC are overstated, frankly, and they're actually boring for people of this country. They couldn't be bothered with the nonsense that happens at Luthuli House. What matters, though, is the leadership in government and whether that leadership can deliver on the promises that were made to the people in the manifesto and push back all this other nonsense that comes from Luthuli House. Ordinary people, ordinary South Africans, should they be sympathetic to this march that is organized by the MKMVA alongside COSAS, which is a structure, by the way,
yeah.
a student structure within
yes.
the ANC, plus this Truck Drivers Association of South Africa? What should South Africans make of this?
I think, whether or not they're sympathetic to it is not something that I can speak on, but what I can tell you is how it will impact ordinary South Africans. The first thing is that the work of the Commission could possibly, reach a grinding halt by virtue of the fact that, one, they've given Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo 7 days to recuse himself, or they've threatened to wreak havoc across the country. That's not my words, those are Carl Niehaus's words, that they would actually make this country ungovernable. Two, in terms of service delivery, if the ANC is not able to manage its own factions, you have a transport minister going out and lashing out, as you said, as a disciplined member of the ANC against other senior, members, but also implicating the public protector. A Chapter 9 institution is meant to be independent, Koli. The fact that Busisiwe Mkhwebane's name has been mentioned during this tweet war or Twitter rant by the Transport Minister, I mean, you could easily dismiss it as just that, a Twitter rant. But at the same time, I mean, the allegation that there is an attempt to bring the ANC below 57%, there was an attempt by those within the ANC to do that. It just tells you that if they're not able to manage their own affairs, how are they going to manage the affairs of the country? Another thing, Oli, is the fact that we know that there is currently a lot of pushback towards the actions of the law enforcement agencies, which have been led by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, this, of course, has implications. Again, the ANC still has to hold that important ANC National General Council. Now, you may think it's just an internal party thing, but that will show the balance of forces, and it will also show how much of a chance or how much the president is winning in terms of his battle against corruption within his own party.
Yeah, and that's the one headache for the head of state, who also doubles up as leader of the African National Congress. We're going to continue with this conversation. A senior politics reporter in studio, Ziyanda Ngcobo, with me, and out on the streets is Malungelo Boy, who is tracking that story. We'll continue this conversation in just a moment. You're watching Newsfeed, the AM edition.